Hello everybody, welcome to the show. It's tough times never last, but tough people do, and you're one of those tough people there, getting through your issues. I'm Michael Kazilny, and people have been sitting on this couch, probably more than 300 people. We've had magistrates, ex-magistrates, ex-police officers, people who've spent a lifetime in prison. We've had some great people who work in the community, and on tonight's show, a very, very decent man, Rob Melasecca, one of probably Australia's finest criminal lawyers, and he's a decent bloke. Thanks, Rob.
Michael.
I won't have to say too much in this interview at all, because you know, you're a man of the stories.
Well, I am a man with the stories, but my favourite story is that personalities are very important, and you're my favourite. The reason you're my favourite is because you bring a little bit of flavour and a little bit of spice to the law, and there should be more people like you, Michael, and I'm proud of you, and on behalf of all the lawyers, I want to thank you for what you do.
Oh, that's so beautiful, mate. I didn't expect you to build me up, mate. That's very nice. But look, I've seen you in action. You are an excellent and first-class professional at the law. You say it the way it is. You don't back down, but you do it with kindness. What else do I want to say about it? You've been the president of the criminal law section.
Criminal law section.
How long for?
About 8 years. Now I chair the Victorian Custody Reference Group for about 7 years.
Amazing.
But Michael, it was an accident. It wasn't. I was never meant to be a lawyer, you see.
Yeah, tell me about that, because in the courts, as you know, we're all running around doing our own thing.
Well, I would have loved to have been a journalist. Now, that would have been wonderful, but I found out that I wasn't smart enough to be a journalist, and accordingly, I thought, what else could I do? And Dad said, why don't you be a lawyer? So I thought, that's a good idea. So I went to Melbourne Uni and I said, I've come here to do law. And they said, no, you've got to have marks and you've got to apply. And I said, but why? And they said, well, that's the process. So I said, no, I'll be good. Take me on. So they called in this committee and they all had to come and see me. Come and see this crazy guy, they said. And believe it or not, Melbourne University said, what the heck, we'll let him in. And they let me in. That was wonderful, and that's the truth.
I think it might have been a little bit tougher than that.
No, it wasn't, Michael. I actually walked in and they had the meeting then and there and let me in on the night. It was a wonderful thing.
We better be careful. Melbourne Uni's going to have all these people lining up thinking they're going to get the same treatment as the great man. But what a career it's been. How many years? I mean, we don't want to give your age away because there might be some...
Nearly 40 now in law.
40 years.
It's a long time.
It's a short time. It's 4 short decades.
Yes.
You're still a young fella. I can see a 24-year-old in there.
Oh, he's still here. There's no doubt about it. And you know what? He doesn't know much more than he did then. And I think that's the magic. I think if you're a working class boy and you come from Dandenong, I was blessed to have come from Dandenong, and my mates are still my mates, the fellows that I knew on the street. So
nice. And
it was an accident that I became a lawyer, and I think the judges realise it, and they're very nice to me as a consequence. Anything I don't know, they always remind me.
They know because, I mean, they're nice to you because you're organised and you're a highly effective human being.
You know, it's not that, Michael. It's not that. It's not effectiveness. It's just the fact. It's what you say all the time. It's about, if you're just one of the people and you tell their story, well then people listen. And that's what it is. So I'm blessed by my ignorance. If I was more educated, if I was more literate, I probably wouldn't be able to tell the story. So it's the fact that I am just one of the boys, and they think, what is this man doing here? And then they find it interesting.
Rob, we go to socials and cocktail parties, and you tell people what you do, and we always hear the same response, oh, you must meet some interesting people. Tell the viewers a day in the life of Rob Melasecca, criminal lawyer.
You know, there's not a day that there's not excitement, Michael. Every fellow that rings you up with an amazing story, and when they tell you what they've done, you're always, you did what? And then they repeat the story, and then you just say, but how could this possibly happen? And as they tell you the story, you become entertained and people laugh at the facts, but as you dig into it, there's always a reason. You know, like the fellow that lost his back wheel whilst being 0.3 something or other and decided that the best thing to do was to drive home for 17 kilometres, and he dug a little groove into the road all the way to his house, which made him not too hard to find. But it's incredible that he could do such a thing. But when you look at his background, when you look at his social structure, you understand. You do say, well, that's how it came about. But I suppose every day people are interesting. I watch you in court, and I'm always fascinated by the admiration of your clients, and I just love the fact that you tell the story and introduce people around them. Now, not a lot of people do that. The fact that you introduce their families and create a picture which brings everyone into the fray, I think that's appreciated by the client.
Thank you. It's very nice coming from a man like him. But back to Rob.
Yes.
Rob, are you selective about your clients, or do they just...
No. I think from a criminal law point of view, you take what comes along. You try to pick people that are willing to listen. That's important. I think there's a saying that I've got that I learnt, and a lot of people might not understand it, but it says that to live outside the law, you must be honest. And people think, well, is that right? It's the people that live inside the law that are honest, but it's not, because there is a structure outside the law which demands that you do the right thing. And doing the right thing is very important, so that when they come to my office, as long as they're willing to participate in doing the right thing, then I am happy to have them there.
Wonderful, but if they're not, and they've got an attitude problem, you show them the door.
Well, I think if they've got an attitude problem, I'm not going to be able to help them, because in the end, no one will be listening.
No.
So I think they're best left to tough times, tough love.
And you see a lot of people, actually we might talk about some of the more stressful cases, if you can think of some after the next break, but we're on the couch on Tough Times with a high-profile criminal lawyer, Rob Melasecca. Don't go away. Show Monday night in Melbourne, and a lot of people going through some tough issues. In fact, everybody you meet, you know, we all put our brave masks on, but everybody's got issues, whether it's with their children, financially, self-esteem, you know, but we've got to try our best every day, and sometimes just go out and try to help some other people, and that's what this man does, Rob Melasecca, criminal lawyer. But you do much more than that. You don't just defend, you almost, you're a mentor, counsellor, even friend sometimes to some of your clients, aren't you?
Oh, you can't help it, Michael. In the end, these people are genuine people and they need help, and they come to you, and part of being a good advocate is really to try and work out how to help them. If you don't do that, you might as well not be in the job. Just being a lawyer is not a trick.
No. And isn't it funny, Rob, we try to put, I know you're the same, you're laughing a lot, you're smiling in the courts, one of the very few. People would say to me, why are you so serious? And I suppose I did 10 years of being a cop and seeing the deaths and getting into this job. We hear a lot of negative stories, don't we? We hear the worst stories, and you always find at the end of the day you're pretty drained, aren't you?
I think you've made a point. It's the way you see things. You see, when you were a policeman, you would have seen it from the victim's point of view, and you would have seen these poor people becoming hurt and feeling so stressed as a result of crime. But when you're a defence lawyer, you see it from the other side, and you see that perhaps what happened was almost inevitable because of the circumstances surrounding it. And there's not a lot of forgiveness for people who've committed criminal offences, and that's the problem. You're up against a very, very tough obstacle course to try and get the truth to be seen, because punishment nowadays is a big, big, big demand.
It is a big demand, and magistrates can't be too soft, or judges can't be too soft, because everybody is always watching, isn't it?
The judiciary do their very best, but unfortunately the lynch mob is still out there, and unfortunately the lynch mob wants action. So much so, you probably know it, but our jails are so full at present that there's no room for any more prisoners. So now our police are now becoming correctional custodians, and we have now overflow into police cells. It's a society which demands punishment, and in the long run, it's not good. We'll be regarded as heathens many years from now for what we do.
And they're not the best conditions in the police cells, are they? They're not five-star hotels.
Well, police are there to protect us. They're not there to be jailers. That's not their job. And it's a very tough thing that is demanded of them, to look after people when they have no facilities to do so. But I think, Michael, I guess the point I'm making is that there's not a lot of sympathy for those who commit criminal offences, and it's such a shame, because we could make it such a much better world if there was. If people cared a little bit more, the world would be a better place.
Yes, but people are always going to commit crime, aren't they?
They commit crimes always for a reason. There's always a reason for the crime.
Because if they didn't, we'd be out of it. Crime's the biggest business, isn't it? All the cars, the buildings, the judiciary, the lawyers.
It's a big industry, and I think jails are going to be even a bigger industry in the not too distant future.
It's a funny game, the way the criminal laws changed. I remember when I first started, you know, people were getting jobs, but the marketing and everything, we've almost become like real estate agents, haven't we?
Well, people are out there claiming their specialties now, and they're all saying we're better than the other lawyer, and they're all claiming that if you go to them, there'll be a better result. Perhaps, Michael, it's time for us to enter the no-win, no-fee market.
Yes.
We could do it.
We could. And Rob, some of the more sort of memorable cases that they've caught you, the more stressful cases, which you weren't that comfortable with, maybe the outcomes, maybe the people.
The more stressful cases are when you know that someone is a good person and perfectly innocent, and yet you can't do a thing to save them because of the circumstances. There's one that we took all the way to the court, a young lady that did nothing. She'd never been in trouble in her life, and all she did was take a phone call from a chappie that didn't like his wife, and he told her what he was going to do. And she said nothing more than, "Are you?" And then he said, "And then we'll be together." And she said, "Will we?" And then she made some suggestions, and those suggestions turned her conversation into a conspiracy. Now, she was in one state, she was in Victoria, and the chappie was in Queensland. She was never going to do anything. But it didn't matter. No matter what we did, she went to jail. And no matter how many appeals we had, they said it was a conspiracy. That's what hurts, when you have people that you know have done nothing terrible. And yet, the radio, the very next day, you know how the radios have their little pranks? They actually rang someone up on the pretending to be ordinary people, and made a few suggestions as to what they wanted him to do. And he went along with it. Now, he won $200 for participating in the radio conversation. Mel got 6.5 years.
Isn't that amazing?
So I think our society sometimes is too judgmental, but what hurts as lawyers, the stressful ones, are the ones that really bother you. Poison Ivy, you remember her? Long time ago, a young woman that wanted to make money in prostitution, but she didn't want to do the prostitution bit. So just before it happened, she'd give them a little tablet to make them go to sleep. and she received the name of Poison Ivy. And she did so much rehabilitation that by the time we got to court, all she had to do was tell the judge about her rehabilitation. And I said to her, Robin, it's very important to tell the judge about your rehabilitation. And what she did was she practiced what she was going to say. But this judge didn't like it, and he was very upset about what she'd done. And he kept arguing with me, so much so that she forgot her lines. So I called her and put her in the box, and I said, Robin, tell the nice judge what you want to say. To which she said, send me to jail, you bloody idiot. Bad result was gotten that very day. But you know what? She was a good person.
Terrific.
A good person.
We might get some tips for some of the younger criminal lawyers after the next break, but don't go away. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back to the show. Thank you very much for joining in all these years, and also on the Facebook page. I'm not that good on the computer, but I've started learning a bit, and yeah, thanks for sharing your stories and for being so authentic about them, you know. Can't believe some people have all the luck and other people, it's like a domino effect. Rob Melasek on the couch, very, very lovely man, helping people all his life. Have you gone through your own difficult issues, Rob?
Oh, no, I've been blessed.
Good.
I'm Donald Duck. I'm one of the luckiest people in the world.
Good answer.
And I don't even know why. It's always good luck. Good luck after good luck.
That's fantastic.
I always get the good judges. I always get the good prosecutors.
Great.
Always get the good clients.
Isn't that amazing?
I don't know. It's just good luck for me.
That is great to hear. That is great to hear. Good things happen to good people. What advice would you give to some of the people out there tonight? They're very lonely. They've cut off contact with their friends, family. They're suicidal almost, and they just don't want to wake up tomorrow.
Michael, what I would say to them is that perhaps they ought to have another look at what's available out there. And I'm not talking about the helping agencies. I'm talking about this wonderful world.
Wow.
Sometimes looking at trees, looking at the sea, just having a nice relaxing time and stop worrying about things, but concentrate more on being at peace with yourself. I think that's the trick.
That's nice.
I think that really you can enjoy yourself by doing absolutely nothing. You don't need money. You don't need too much to have a good time.
That's a very good point. It's nice, refreshing to hear that. I thought you were going to say, you know, ring this mob and that mob, which are also great. But you're so right, the simplicity of life. We get to a stage where we're always chasing. I remember when I go to Hamilton Island or Hayman with the family on holidays, some of the business people, you know, they're reading the same newspaper 3 or 4 times. They're on the phone and they're texting, and you know that their mind's so full. They always need to do something. But you're right. Sometimes
we've got a beautiful country.
It is a great country.
You think about it. You can live in South Melbourne where houses cost $2 million, but you can be in the Housing Commission flat, be on a pension, buy a packet of Marlboro and wear your moccasins, and you're in the same place as the rich. It's got to be good.
You've got a $2 million lifestyle.
What a country.
Mate, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. And what about some advice to, there's so many law schools now, and quite often I see young criminal lawyers in the magistrates' court, county court, and you know the bench might give them a bit of a hard time, and they take it personally, and they start arguing, and they come out and they go, I can't believe, you know, what he said, what she said to me. What advice? I mean, it's not going to be a very happy career for them if they're going to be upset every second day.
I think it's what you said a little bit earlier, Michael. I think people should be a little bit more like Michael Kazilnik, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. You care about people, but people that you care about is not just your client. It's got to be the magistrate, it's got to be the prosecutor, it's got to be the policeman. You put yourself in their shoes. So if you're in front of a magistrate, try to think like the magistrate's thinking and see what's troubling him. If you're in front If you're talking to a prosecutor, see what the prosecutor's worried about. See what the policeman's worried about. See what the victim's worried about. Once you put yourself in other people's shoes, empathy is a beautiful thing, and people listen. But if you've been watching the wrong television show, if you're not watching Kazilny, but you're watching if you're watching the commercial television, that's the wrong law, isn't it? Because that's not how it happens.
Yeah,
we're not in America, are we?
No.
No.
But that's some terrific advice, isn't it? That, yeah, put yourselves in the shoes and everyone's got a different player, hasn't it?
Well, you've got to see.
like a concert.
What does the magistrate have to do? Let's listen to what he might have to do.
And what are the plans for the great man in the next sort of 5, 10, 20, 30 years?
Well, I've planned my retirement. I'm going to retire on my 82nd birthday, which is 22 years from now. And I want to be like some of our great lawyers out there. You know them all. They've been here before. You know, there's Doug Murray, there's Brian Burke. There's quite a few lawyers that are excellent in their field at the ripe old age of 82. So I want to be as good as they are. So
terrific, mate. You're only a young fella now, you're right, but that's a great idea because a lot of people, when they retire too early, they get bored, they get depressed, and this game, you can play this game forever, can't you? It's like playing golf for you, in a way, isn't it?
Well, if you can do it and you've got a job to do, you've got to do it. What else is there to do?
Yeah.
I mean, fishing is good, but you can do that on the weekends.
And you're very unique, Rob. I see you on your push bike riding around town. That's what made you buy the push bike? To keep fit?
No, I've been cycling since a 13-year-old, so...
Is that right?
It's my preferred mode of transport, Michael.
It's a great way to get around, isn't it?
Yes. No, it's a beautiful thing.
You know, Rob, in the 10 years in the police force, working undercover and this and all these fancy schmancy, you know, squads, I spent 18 months on the push bikes.
Oh, did you?
And it was a terrific time. Made you feel good. You got amongst the community. Yeah, yeah.
It's a beautiful thing to be propelled without paying for petrol.
But you're not into the Lycra and that sort of stuff on Beach Road.
Oh, no.
Oh, you are?
I'm a definite Lycra man.
Oh, great. You're right into it.
Oh, yes.
I didn't know that.
No.
Where do you ride?
I compete with the Southern Vets cycling. Been doing that for many, many years.
Mate, you're a quiet achiever.
I know.
That is amazing.
Do you know what? We have 82-year-olds and 83-year-olds racing, still racing.
Is that right?
Brilliant people.
And how often would you ride a week?
Well, the races 3 times a week.
That is terrific, mate. I think that also keeps you very positive, doesn't it? Because exercise is important, isn't it?
I think that it's probably one of the most important things. What you said before, the advice to the people that are lonely and they are sad, I think the exercise, to get out, to go for that walk around the block, to go along the beach, to go walking along cycling paths, to go where there are green. I think, yeah, exercise is a beautiful thing.
Rob, a lot of people who've come on the couch who've been, you know, some are in their 40s and they've spent 30 years behind bars, they say, we like to go back, Michael. We don't care. We go out there, you know, we don't mind getting caught because that's where our friends and family are. We feel outsiders coming into the community. Do you think society might be a bit too judgmental after people have been punished?
I think so. I think the reality is that jails are Neanderthal. When the future comes, 1,000 years from now, we'll all be ashamed that jails exist. It's not the way forward.
No.
All you do in a jail is it's a giant refrigerator of no produce. And to have an empty refrigerator is not a good thing. And a jail is just a total waste of energy.
Mate, it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
Michael.
Thank you very much.
And Michael,
Yes,
please let everyone know
Yeah.
that this Mr. Kazilny is a very generous man to a lot of wonderful poor people. And people should know that about you, Michael. I've seen you hand it out lots and lots, and you're a good man.
Oh, you're a good man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching. What a decent man. And if you're in trouble, you need some advice, you know who to call. Have a lovely week. And if you want to share your story, please give us a call or email. All the best. Love and best wishes. Good night.